13 September 2024 marks 4 years since Umar Khalid was jailed in connection with the Delhi riots that erupted in February 2020. Our reporting shows how the case against him has been built on inferences, conjectures, partial truths, and appears politically motivated. Activists, academics, and bureaucrats have been critical of this Delhi police case, which has a single-minded focus of holding the anti-CA protests and those involved in the protests responsible for the riots. The protests against the Citizenship Amendment Act had many strong voices like Umar's, and this popular movement saw many more activists emerge. Of the 18 chargesheeted in the Delhi riots conspiracy case, 16 of them are Muslim. Of the 53 people killed in the riots, 3/4 are Muslim. The case is registered under India's counter-terrorism law and invokes many grave sections of the Indian Penal Code like murder, sedition, rioting, and conspiracy. More than 4 years after it was registered on 6 March 2020, the case is not close to being tried. And yet, with the exception of a few, most of the accused remain behind bars without bail or trial. Their hearings for bail get adjourned month after month. As the years pass, judges keep changing. Umar Khalid is a political activist. He has completed his PhD from the Jawaharlal Nehru University, where he became involved in a controversy around an event to mark the hanging of Afzal Guru, convicted in the Parliament attack case. The authorities said provocative slogans were raised. Over the years, there has been considerable debate over the hanging of Afzal Guru in 2013 and the evidence against him. Umar was jailed in a sedition case for 18 days before he got bail. Now in the spotlight, Umar became more critical of the government and co-founded the group United Against Hate. Umar emerged as a voice for many Muslims facing the Islamophobia which had been growing since the BJP came to power in 2014. He became a symbol of dissent at a time of anti-Muslim radicalization. Umar's bail plea was pending in the Supreme Court for nearly 9 months before he returned to the District Court this year. The lower courts are mostly reluctant to give bail once the police invoke terror charges, and his bail was rejected for a second time in the District Court in May 2024. He moved the Delhi High Court in July. The High Court rejected his bail plea in October 2022, and one of the reasons was the speech he gave in Maharashtra a few weeks before the riots in Delhi. This speech has always been publicly available and contains nothing to form the basis of criminal charges, let alone terror charges. Read our piece on why the High Court order refusing bail was unsatisfactory and confusing, especially since 2 years earlier, the same court, which included one of the same judges, gave bail to 3 of his co-accused. The court found no prima facie case made out against Natasha Narwal, Devangna Kalita, and Asif Iqbal Tana, and said the police had blurred the lines between the right to protest and terrorist activity. The Supreme Court recently said that bail must be the rule and not the exception, even in cases that invoke laws like the counter-terrorism law that has stringent conditions for bail. The court also said the investigating machinery has to be fair. Read our piece on why the Delhi riots conspiracy case is not fair and why it appears weak and devoid of evidence. Seemingly normal activities that go on in a public movement, being part of multiple WhatsApp groups with different stakeholders, speaking critically, even harshly of the government, having disagreements, holding meetings and planning logistics, have been painted in a sinister light. Many of the police witness statements sound the same. They describe the protests as venues of instigation against the government and many activists as instigators. Some of them are demonstrably contradictory and unreliable. There is no money trail linked to Khalid, and nothing has been recovered from his person or home. Judges who have heard the Delhi riots cases have repeatedly called into question the quality of the Delhi police investigation. Look for links to our stories in the YouTube descriptor below. Crucially, the case against Umar and the other activists makes out that opposing the government of the day and its policies is an attack on the country. 4 years after he was arrested, Umar Khalid is jailed without bail or trial. Other accused have been jailed for even longer by a justice system that seems out of step with due process, rule of law, and fundamental principles of natural justice and human rights. To support our coverage of Umar Khalid and others who the justice system is failing, subscribe to Article 14.